Hello and welcome to the video tutorial on creation of BMR boot media using NovaStor DataCenter software. The DataCenter software does require BMR boot media to be in place so that you can restore a BMR backup. We'll be using a Windows server that has the DataCenter command server installed on it to create that boot media. So let's get started in creating that media now. So here we are on our DataCenter command server machine. We have a shortcut to a folder that we need to pull open, which is going to, in your case, be C program files NovaStor DataCenter highback VSS BMR PE-build. This README text file contains instructions on how to create the BMR boot media, and in our case we're going to be also covering how to add a RAID controller driver into your BMR boot media. That is to do if the target system that you're trying to restore a BMR backup to contains a RAID controller, then you will need to have that driver added to the BMR boot media. So once you're inside the README text file, you're going to see various instructions here on how to create the boot media as well as how to add that RAID controller driver in. So here section 1 is where you will find the folder where you need to copy the drivers to. In our case, we have an Adaptec RAID controller driver extracted to the desktop. These are the files inside that drivers folder, and we're going to want to add that RAID controller into our boot media. So back to the README text file, if we look at the instructions for that, it mentions to copy that entire folder to a folder that we create inside the PE-build resources build add-on. Choose whether or not it's 64-bit or x86 architecture, and in our case it's x64, so we're going to go ahead and in this folder, based on the instructions, create a new folder called drivers. We'll go ahead and type drivers in now, and then we're going to paste in that folder that we copied earlier for the RAID driver. And now we're done with that driver extraction and copy. If we scroll down to the section for the Windows Server 2012 that we're running, we can see section C here shows us that we need to download Windows ADK from Microsoft and install that. If your system already has the Windows ADK, then you do not need to do this step. But it's highlighted here on what we need to go out and download from Microsoft. So you have that web link there that shows the either web page or direct download to get the ADK setup file. Once you have the ADK setup file downloaded, you'll then run it and use the default answers for what to install. Here's the download link that we're going to use, and we're going to go and copy that address, open up our web browser, and we're going to go to a support article that we have. You can go to our support knowledge base and look at BMR boot media article. It'll show you the path to that README text file as well as the ADK download link that you'll need to use to create that BMR boot media. So we'll click on the link there, and now we're on Microsoft's site, going and getting the Windows Assessment Deployment Kit. Click download when you're ready, and it's going to download a small executable, adksetup.exe. Go ahead and run that directly by clicking on it or double clicking on it. Once it loads, you're going to be able to choose the installation path for the ADK. You can go ahead and change it if you'd like to. We're going to say next here, and next again, accept, and these are the components to install. We're going to use the defaults, hit install at the bottom. It's going to go out and download those components from Microsoft. It could take a while depending on your bandwidth connection. And it's about 5 to 6 gigabytes of data depending on the exact version of the ADK that you do grab. So wait patiently for that to complete, and you'll start seeing the status fill in there as we are. So we'll just wait for that to go. And it's done downloading, so we can click close there, and it's installed. So we'll switch back to the Windows Explorer, and in the PE-build folder we have two scripts here. One is a create PE build 64, the other is a x86. We're going to right click on the 64-bit one and do an open here and say yes to the prompt. and that's going to build our ISO file and zip file. The ISO file we could burn directly to CD, DVD. The zip file allows us to create a flash drive to USB media. So here's the ISO highlighted. That can go to CD, DVD directly with a burning software, or Windows Server, Windows Workstation can right-click and do a burn on that one. The zip file we'll look at, it has a script inside it to be able to create the USB flash media. It's this create recovery stick file. So we're going to extract that zip contents by right-clicking, doing extract all, and then browse over to the desktop and say extract. And it's going to extract that zip file to the desktop, and it's going to create the script that we need for the create recovery stick to make that USB flash drive. And with that script, we can go ahead and right click on it and do a run as administrator, and you'll be pressing a key to continue. It's gonna write to your flash drive that's plugged in, say yes there, and this is gonna show a list of drives that are plugged in. So in our case, we're going to use the last volume there, 3, for our flash drive. It's going to say, do you want to use this drive? Yes. It's going to wipe out the partitions that are on there and write out the files for the boot records that's needed for that flash drive. So we're done here, and you can close the prompt. And just to verify we have that flash drive written out properly, go ahead and navigate to your USB flash drive in Explorer. In our case, it's the F. And this does look like valid contents for a data center BMR boot media. So we can close out of that. And we are done with that boot media creation. So thank you so much for your attention and watching the BMR boot media creation video.